I see Lakshmi Mataji. Thank you for joining. Uma Mataji, are you from Toronto?
No, Mataji, I'm from Portland, Oregon.
Okay. Welcome, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for consistently joining these classes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Flavir Mataji, welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for teaching us so nicely.
Oh, so nice. I'm missing you in the morning sessions. I'm also not consistent joining sometimes.
Yeah, I've been having some challenges. So right now I'm very sick. I contracted COVID, so I'm very sick right now. But
how are you doing now?
I'm okay. I'm under the doctor's care, but he's giving me everything I need to stay home, so I don't have to go to the hospital. So I had it in 2020 when it first came, and so with Krishna's mercy, I'm gonna be fine.
Oh, good, Mataji. Praying that everything will be okay and you'll be fine, Mataji.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So maybe should we begin, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, I'll start the recording.
Okay.
Mataji, please announce about the new program also, that when it is going to start, Mataji, when I start the recording.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranams. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa groups, Bhagavad Gita as it is, 18 chapters in 18 sessions. So today is the 19th session because we divided 18 chapters into 2. So today will be the last session, but we will not be missing Krishna's and Arjuna's association because we are starting a new session again very soon. I think it's starting the next week, 3rd of August, if I'm not wrong. So we have same way we have 18 chapters in 18 sessions, or maybe 1 or 2 sessions extra. Yeah, it's starting 3rd August 2021. You can see the flyer in the Facebook of Bhakti Sangha Japa group. So my humble request is please forward these flyers to your other groups and friends and relatives. This course is especially for beginners. Of course, the other devotees are also welcome. But for a person who wants to know what is there in Bhagavad Gita, the overview of it, so it will be a good idea to start up with this course. So this is again starting next week. So requesting all of you to please share this information to your friends and relatives. So thank you so much. So we can, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and spiritual masters, we are now in the last session. By the mercy of Krishna, he kindly allowed us to complete this session, and we are praying for the blessings of all the devotees and the Lord, so that we can continue doing such sessions and try to introduce this knowledge in the mainstream society. So let's start with Guru Pranam. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhachatya Deshatarine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at His lotus feet. Our respectful obeisances unto you, O spiritual master, as a servant of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. You're kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Deva and delivering the Western countries which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. So these two are the biggest contaminations in our mind. These impersonalism or considering God to be having no form only, and also thinking that everything has originated from nothing, that is Shunyavadi or voidism. These two are not the correct representations of the complete absolute truth. And so Srila Prabhupada taught the ancient literatures through logic and analogy, and defeating these two concepts which are widely spread over all the countries, not only Western, Eastern, everywhere, and established the presence of a personal Lord who's a supreme controller and also who's a supreme friend. So we're very thankful to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara Pandit, Srivas Thakur, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So it was only through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy we got the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra out of the Vedas. Otherwise, it was very a secret mantra. Only a few got to chant this, that too only at few times when they were taking bath in the Ganga. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got this, the most confidential mantra, but that is the mantra which is meant for the deliverance of this fallen age of Kali to every town and village, to every person, irrespective of whatever their qualifications are. So let's chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, please engage me in your service. So this is the prayer that we meditate on. So when we chant the mantra, we meditate on the prayer of the mantra. So we are chanting and asking the Lord to be engaged in His service. So that's what we want. That is what would satisfy us, pure devotional service and nothing else. So this is the greatest boon of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srila Prabhupada took out this most confidential knowledge in the Vedic scriptures and gave it out to everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So we are continuing from where we left last class. So we saw the first 40 verses of chapter 18. So Sukasagari Mataji very nicely, wonderfully explained about the various topics in that 40 shlokas, starting with what is, if you see that the name of this chapter, it is conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. So what is Tyaga and what is Sannyas? What is and what are the difference? What is the meaning of both? And then how Yajna, Dhana, and Tapa, that is charity, sacrifice, and austerity. Sacrifice, austerity, and charity should not be given up by even the most learned people, that is Krishna's opinion. And different people perform different kinds of charity, sacrifices, and penances. And so they are divided in according to the three modes of material nature: charity in the mode of goodness, penance in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, and sacrifice in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And also we saw how there are 5 factors for a thing to happen. It's not only the person who is doing, he's a part of that. The performer, the action, the senses, the instrument with which they perform, and the endeavor, and finally the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul, who is giving the sanction. And if he is the fifth, Daivam Chaivatra Panchamam, if the fifth sanction is not there, even if the first four elements are there, it would not work. So Krishna is explaining the science of how a work is taking place, and then he also explained about a worker in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, about the knowledge which is also in goodness, passion, and ignorance, about the understanding that that is also in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So this theme of the three modes of material nature was introduced by the Lord in the 14th chapter, and then we saw it continuing in the 17th chapter and 18th chapter also. So now from text 41, Krishna is explaining Chaturvarnyam, the four varnas that is created by him. As we know, in the 4th chapter, he said that Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha Tasya Kartaram Apima Vidya Kartaram Avyayam. So Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam, these four varnas are created by him, and that is based on the guna and karmas. So that's why he's saying Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Shudranam Cha Parantapa Karmani Pravibhaktani Swabhava Prabhavair Gunaihi. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes, or chastiser of the enemy. So what are the different qualities of Brahmanas? Or rather, if a person has these qualities, then he's called a Brahmana. If a person has these qualities, then he is a Kshatriya. And if a person exhibits these qualities, it's a Vaishya and Shudra. So Shamo, Damas, Tapa, Shaucham, Shantir, Arjavam, Evacha, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, Brahma Karma, Swabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So we saw that even the 16th chapter, in the beginning, the first three of the divine qualities, Krishna mentioned this, that few of the qualities for Brahmanas, what are the qualities for Kshatriyas and Vaishyas and Shudras, and what are the qualities for Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasam. So these are all such self-illuminating. Even when we read, it makes us feel so good. So these are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work, and why Krishna says this. So we make an effort to be in the mode of goodness. So the reason for Krishna to explain various topics and various things in the three modes of material nature is that so that we can consciously make a decision to be in the mode of goodness. So yeah, that is the thing. And then when it comes to Kshatriyas, it is Shauryam, which is heroism, Tejaha, power, Dhritir, determination, Dakshyam, is resourcefulness or expertness, Yuddhe Chapyapalayanam, courage in the battle, Dhanam, generosity, Ishvara Bhavascha, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. So we can see that difference in the qualities, because it's everything is required. We'll see it in the coming slides. Krishi, farming, Go Raksha is cow protection, Vanijyam and business are the Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam, natural work for the Vaishyas. And for the Shudras, Paricharyatmakam Karma, there are labor and service to others, Shudrasyapi Swabhavajam. So these are the four varnas, and they are determined by the qualities. So then, can everyone aspire to be the Brahmanas? No, but here he says that Brahmanas or priests are considered to be the head of the Lord. Kshatriyas, who are rulers or administrators, are considered to be his arms. Vaishyas are considered to be his thighs. Artisans, tradesmen, farmers, and merchants. And Shudras are manual laborers. They are considered to be the feet. So if the whole body is only head, will the body work? Of course, head is the leader, or head is the natural. Leader of the. If you consider the constitution of the body, the head is the most prominent one. But if I replace the arms and the thighs and the legs with the head, how will the body function? So similarly, the social body or structure basically naturally has these classifications, because some of them like to be artisans, some of them like to go to administrators, some of them want to become priests and academicians, and some of them tend to become the laborers. So we can see that, based on their the choice, that's where they are tending to go. Because for the social structure, all these four classifications are required, their contributions are required for a healthy society. So after explaining this, so that this is what we saw, each and every the Sanskrit and the meaning of this. So then you may question, then will the Brahmins or the Brahmanas, who are the highest or of the social order, because they are in constant touch with the subject matter of transcendence, will they be only having the opportunity to attain perfection? What about the others? So Krishna knows that this will be the question. So he says that everyone, no matter what they're performing, they can attain perfection by performing his own work, not just by performing the work. It is not work is worship. I have grown up hearing these concepts from the film and the Dravidian movements. So far, the atheistic and they call it what is that? The rationalist movement. Work is worship. Work is not worship. Work, when performed, when offered as a worship of the Lord, that's when it becomes perfect. Work alone doesn't become worship. When we work, when we worship the work, we are just becoming workaholics, nothing else. So Krishna is saying that he has engaged. So how should we work? How should a Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, Shudra work? That is that I am being engaged in this particular type of work by the master of the senses, who is Rishikesh. And so by the result of my work, he is to be worshipped. So in this mentality, a work done in this attitude, if a person does that, then he will achieve the highest perfection. So one may wonder that Brahmana's qualities are very non-reactive. It is mostly in the mode of goodness, while Kshatriyas is passion and a little tinge of goodness, Vaishyas is passion and a little tinge of ignorance, and Shudras is majority ignorance and a little tinge of passion. So if can everyone move up to the previous, the thinking that the Brahmana's occupation is better. But Krishna is saying no, it is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. So he's saying don't jump the order just because the other one is more, you think that it is more convenient. So he's telling this according to a nature. that is prescribed nature, you choose that work, and whatever it may be, by performing that work in the consciousness that I am a servant of the Lord and the Lord is my master or my boss. Like, you are a team member and he's the boss. So when a person codes or does anything, he's always thinking what the boss will say, how, whether it will please him, whether, I will get good in appraisal. So this is boss consciousness. So similarly, if you are Krishna conscious, Krishna is my real boss, will he be pleased with my actions? Am I following his instructions? So in that uh, sense, if everybody works, they can know one matter where they are, they can become perfect. So we have so many examples for this. So we can see that Bhagavatam is filled with Brahmanas who are doing it as who have perfected their life. For example, Sudama, and we have heard so many examples throughout the Brahmanas. Also in Krishna book, we have an example of a king and a Brahmana, Shrutadeva and Bahulasva. Shrutadeva is a king and Bahulasva is a Brahman, or vice versa, I'm sure. But Krishna comes to Mithila and both of them wanted Krishna to come at the same time. So Krishna expands into two. And along with Krishna, the set of sages and the rishis who are coming with them, they also expand into two, seeing the Lord's wish. So one set goes to the king's palace, and there is a royal reception of flowers and gold and diamond in charity and in golden plates and opulent food served in all opulence there. Here in that Brahmana's house, he's just having a hut, and he's cleaning with his angavastra, and he puts a mat, and he washes Krishna's feet and the sage's feet, and the wife has cooked some simple rice dal sabji, and that has been served in leaf plates, and very simple worship. But Krishna is pleased with both. Both of them are attaining perfection, whether it's a Brahmana or whether he's a king, a poor Brahmana or an opulent king. But the point is, both of them are living their life with a view to please the Lord. And so this is an example how anybody can attain perfection. And for if you see Vaishyas, Krishna specifically went to stay with the Vaishyas as their adopted son, and he glorified them. Even he says, "Ye yatamam prapadyante tam tataiva bhajamyaham." How you worship, how you approach me, like that I reward you, or more than that I reward you. But in case of the Vaishya gopis, who are simple milkmaids, who are not even Brahmanas or Kshatriyas, who are simply trading milk and butter, to them Krishna says that I am bowled over. I'm not being able to keep my promise in front of you because I cannot repay you. You are coming to worship me with such an attitude of purity and selflessness that I'm not able to repay you. So it doesn't matter one is a Vaishya, but they have attained perfection, that they have pleased Krishna to the best. And if there are so many examples of Shudra also, Ramananda Rai in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a governor of Godavari, although he was governor in the king's thing, he was basically from a Shudra caste, and that's what we see, that when Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meet on the bank of Godavari, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hugs or embraces Ramananda Rai, and the Brahmanas are alarmed because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is from a Brahmana community and he's a sannyasi, the highest in both the order, Varna and Ashrama. And they wouldn't even touch or even look at the Shudras, but here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is embracing him, and he's feeling the ecstatic emotions. So we can see that Vidura also is one such example. Vidura, although Yamaraj in his previous birth, he was cursed to be Shudra's son. So he was the best devotee of the Lord. And Sukasagari Mataji said one more example of Narada Muni that was so good. So Narada Muni in his previous life was again a maid servant's son. So he was like a Shudra, but he got the association of the great sages who are called Bhakti Vedantas, and he was blessed with their service and the remnants of their food. That, because of their blessing, he was even able to see the Lord once face to face, and then he continued doing devotional service in that life, that the next life he got a transcendental body, and that he goes from place to place, always glorifying the Lord. He became Brahma's son and also the servant of the Lord. So we see that, there are so many examples how it doesn't matter which varna one is in, one can always please the Lord. And Krishna is also giving an example that as the fire is covered by smoke, every endeavor in any varna you take, there is some fault or the other. So just because my work has some faults, then the work that is assigned to us, we don't give it up and jump to imitate the others. Okay, so how to attain perfection? So he said that this is the way how you work, that everybody can attain perfection by the worship of the Lord. So how to do that in person? What does it mean by worship of the Lord? So here he gives a list. Being purified by his intelligence. That means the intelligence should be fed with eternal matter, not temporary material matter. So that's why, we always keep listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Only when the intelligence is filled with this, then the intelligence can give proper command to the mind and can control the mind with determination. So being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, being equipoised, and one who lives in a secluded place, meaning that, not that we want to be what the society wants us to be, going with the flow. If the devotee is not like that. Doesn't matter whether he has a big following or zero following, whether he's people are making fun of him that he's a devotee, doesn't matter. So basically he lives in a secluded place, not necessarily now meaning that going to the forest or staying away from the city, but also he is among the society. He is not of the society. He is not following their norms and goals. So who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, vacho vegam, manasaha krodha vegam, who is always in trance, thinking about the Lord, and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride. So these three are like, like goodness, passion, and ignorance, it always comes, even in the 15th chapter. Whenever it comes, nirmana, moha, jita sanga, dosha, adhyatma, nitya, vinivritta kamaha. So false ego, false strength comes from false ego, and false pride comes from false ego. What is false ego? Which is not true ego. So what is that ego? Ego means identity. False ego means I am this body, and everything that comes from the body is mine. That's why Prahalad Maharaj didn't like what Chanda and Amarka told, because he couldn't differentiate between my friends and my enemies. But politics means first you see someone as friends and someone as enemies. But a devotee is not like that. So he's free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust and anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship, and peaceful. So if a person is doing all this, naturally he'll be peaceful. If we are not peaceful at any point of time, if we open the Bhagavad Gita and read this, then we are somewhere within these things, we are making a gutbud. Our intelligence, we have not heard enough, or we are not controlling the mind with the determination. We are eating too much. We are not free from false ego. Some of the other is there. So such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. So basically, if one is freed from the material conception of life, he becomes peaceful and cannot be agitated. He gives this example in the second chapter, Apurya Manam Achala Pratishtam Samudra Mapha Pravishanti Yadvat Tatvat Kamayam Pravishanti Sarve Sashanti Mapnoti Nakama Kami. Rivers will enter the ocean always. You cannot stop the river from entering the ocean. The ocean cannot complain. I swelled because the rivers came. No. How much amount of water the rivers put into ocean also, the ocean is ever being filled, but is always still. So, I mean, we cannot say that I am not able to chant peacefully because of my family problems, because of my kids, because I am this, because I am that. No, that will always be there. I mean, that's what we are here. We signed up this contract. We cannot escape it. As long as we are in this body, these disturbances are bound to come. We cannot stop it, just like the rivers entering the ocean. But what we can do is, even when the rivers are entering the ocean, how the ocean is filled, like that way we can be filled. In the early part of the day, if we fill our mind, intelligence, and consciousness with Krishna's name, Krishna's instructions, reading from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, then we can see that we'll be better equipped to handle the forces of nature that we are subject to. So then a person is attaining this, that he is peaceful, then he is said to have attained the Brahman realization. So what is this? A very, very famous shloka. Srila Prabhupada lectured on this many times. Brahma bhutah prasannatma na shochati na kangshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. One who is just transcendently situated, what he does, at once realizes Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So this is the Brahman conception of Brahman realization, or the first stage of realization of the supreme aspect of the Supreme Lord. So the Brahman realization means one becomes fully joyful, and one is to render service to the Lord. One has to be like the Lord, godly. To render service to God, one has to be godly. Just like the birds of the same feathers flock together. So similarly, unless we are situated on the Brahman concept of life, we cannot touch or serve the Parabrahman. So, so basically, even though there is no difference in that sense, that the servitor and the served, the Lord, are completely Brahman or transcendental. In that sense, there is no difference. But yet, there is a distinction in a higher spiritual sense. That's what we see, that how there are different relationships with which to serve the Lord. And the Lord also constantly serves the devotee. That's what makes a spiritual world a spiritual world. Here, constantly we are in competition. We are in either competition within the family. So much problems between, the fighting between the brothers, and then the problem with the neighbors, and then the problem with the countries, and then the co-workers, everywhere, because we want to be the Lord. And everyone wants to be the Lord. So one Lord clashes with another Lord. It's like the bumper car. But in the spiritual world, everyone is in competition how to serve one another better. That we see in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. When it starts only, we see that how when Gopakumar goes from one devotee to the other devotee, how this devotee, compares himself and feels that he's insignificant compared to the other devotee. So Sanatan Goswami says that this is even in the beginning of the spiritual life, even in the practice life, The sense of servitude is there, which you will not find in the material world at all. So it all looks so difficult, right? How do I become transcendently situated? How do I neither lament nor desire to have anything, and equally disposed toward every living entity, no matter whether they are my own son or my friend's son or my friend, or people who criticize me, people who like me, people who worship me, people who want to kill me, whoever is that, equally disposed. How is all this possible? It's mind boggling, because we are born in Kali Yuga and we are trained to be competitive and envious from the beginning of our life. How is it possible? It's only simply possible by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who preached pure devotional service in this age. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached pure devotional service, nothing else, not mixed devotional service, not religion, not bargaining with the Lord in the name of religion, not materialistic religion, karmi, not jnani, attaining to become one with the Lord or becoming the Lord, but simply serving. And how that is also pure, with unmotivated, uninterrupted, unconditional. So that is that when we are aspiring for, and when we attain that, all these things are automatically attained. So how to attain that? How to attain that stage where we can interact with the Lord face to face? Krishna says, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, that is the qualification of one's life, to meet Krishna face to face. So Krishna is saying, bhaktyä mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. One can understand me as I am, as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. Bhaktyä mam, only by bhaktya. He didn't say jnana, he didn't say karma, only by bhakti. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, vishate tad anantaram, he can enter into the kingdom of God, not that become one with the Lord. So here Srila Prabhupada explains, vishate means entering into the abode of the Supreme. It is like a green bird entering a green tree. From here, I am seeing a green bird flying and entering into a green tree. For me, it looks like the bird has merged in the tree, right? Because both are green color, and I'm not able to distinguish the bird in the tree because it's camouflaged. But then the bird doesn't cease to exist by entering the tree. A green bird enters a green tree to enjoy the fruits of the tree. So that means even after liberation, the individual soul retains its identity for the purpose of service. Because there are three things. There are servitor, service, and the served one. For bliss, these three are required. Srila Prabhupada gives another example, that a personalist, again the same example, they can give that the rivers enter into the sea and become one with the sea. No, the river becoming one with the sea is your vision. Like, here, from here, if I see from top, if I see, you can see the buses, it's from aerial view. From here, if I see river, and river becomes one with the ocean. For example, I will not be able to see the fishes. The fishes that is there in the river, they enter the ocean and they continue to remain the fishes. So that's what. In the surface acquaintance, when we see from far away, when I see from far away a green bird merging into the green tree, it becomes green. No, but when I come near and then I see that the green bird is enjoying the green fruit of the green tree. Similarly, when I come near and see, then I can see that there is aquatics in the ocean also. That means individuality is maintained. So what is real liberation? Real liberation means a reinstatement of one's own position, constitutional position. We all have a constitutional position, a personal constitutional position with respect to the service of the Lord. Right now, it is now like in hibernating. we are coming here, it has we have let that identity hibernate or sleep, and we are active in dream-like existence here, from life after life after life, interacting with different living entities, what the karma allows, and then quitting again, going endlessly like this. But whereas our real position is hibernating there. So when we are reinstated in our own identity, in our own constitutional position, that is a real liberation. So how do we attain this? I mean, it all, should I cease performing work? Should I sit and, read the scriptures and then eat air and dried leaves? No. Like how Srila Prabhupada is. So he engaged in all kinds of activities, negotiating with the land, buying the land, and building instructing his disciples to build the temples, and publishing books, translating, and giving the enough intelligence. He was 70-year-old, and all his disciples were like around 20 average, or even less than that, and they had no experience in the world. Like a loving father, he gave them all necessary protection and guidance, and all this in an era where there was no computer, where there was no email. How many letters he answered, how much he did. So he engaged in all sorts of activities, but with the intention of serving the Lord. So there is no time, Srila Prabhupada writes that there is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He is always 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. We all know how he got up early in the morning, 12 or 1, and worked when everybody is sleeping. He is working, translating through the dictaphone. And there was a reunion of Srila Prabhupada's disciples in New Vrindavan, I think in 2016. There, even Sally Agarwal came, the one who hosted Prabhupada first in Pennsylvania. She's a Jewish lady, and she came and she spoke brilliantly. What sort of a person was Srila Prabhupada? How kind, and how, I mean, she still remembers that his kindness and his warmth and his love and his care. And there was one Prabhu who shared that he was I forget his name, but he was a personal servant of Prabhupada for some time, and he said that he was giving massage to Prabhupada's feet, and he put the mosquito net, and he made, he was seeing that Srila Prabhupada went to sleep, and then he went to sleep, and he was doing some work, and within 10 minutes he heard the sound of a switch light on. So Srila Prabhupada, he says that there are many nights where he didn't sleep at all, even the 2 hours or 3 hours. Immediately he got up and he translated, and because of that we are having this. How many books? Our lifetime is not enough to read those books, and what a depth they are, and how much hard work he did, taking these concepts in Sanskrit and ancient manuscripts, and giving according to time, place, and circumstances. So he was always engaged 24 hours, and he was fully conscious of the Lord. So that's what, in all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So one may argue that Krishna was there directly to Arjuna, giving instructions. But what about now? So Krishna gave Arjuna the instructions, and they are still available in the Shastras, in the Bhagavad Gita, and also following the instructions of the spiritual master, one who is the representative of Krishna. He guides. Then the result is the same. It is as good as listening from Krishna personally. So that is why a spiritual master's order, which is non-different from the order of the Supreme Lord, that should be taken as a prime duty of life. So Srila Prabhupada's 125th appearance is coming this year, 2022. So they're, I think, they're requesting everyone to read Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita and join in the quiz. There is a quiz that is from Evolve Pune. If you Google Evolve Pune, Srila Prabhupada Centennial, Srila Prabhupada Quiz 125, you can see the details. Everyone can go and register, and we can read. I mean, the amazing. I mean, what they have written in the books is so wonderful. But we can very well imagine how can a person's life be written in books. Sukadeva Goswami is saying that I'm not telling everything in Bhagavatam. I don't have time, and it's only 7 days. And whatever I'm telling Srimad, the pastimes of Krishna, much more is happening. Similarly, how much can we document in Leelamrita? Whatever we can, humanly possible. But even that is so relishable. It's a must for everyone to read that page by page and understand, what Srila Prabhupada has given us. And of course, my point is, he has done much more than this, because it's not possible to document every minute of one's life. So Krishna is saying that this is how you work in Krishna consciousness. Engage in all sorts of activities, but be fully conscious of me. So here, this is the shloka where Krishna is taking a stick. Sama Veda Dana Dandam. I mean, the last thing, he's taking a stick and he's showing the stick in this. Machittaha Sarva Durgani Mat Prasadat Tarishyasi. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditional life by my grace. Mat Prasadat. But Ata Chetvam Ahankaran. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego. Ahankaran means I am the actor, I am the doer. Na shroshyasi, not hearing me. Vinangshyasi, you'll be lost. And then after that, you'll be very lost. Either lost and very lost. That's it. So Krishna, I mean, this is a very unique shloka. Only few shlokas are here where you can see the personality of the Lord, like a loving and a father who's strict. Father has to tell the son, if you don't listen to me, this is what will happen. Because that's negative thing. I mean, you have to show where you land up if you don't listen to me. So he says that, for one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. He always looks after his friend's comfort, and he gives himself to his friend who is so devotedly engaged, working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. So Krishna gives himself to a devotee who is engaged 24 hours a day. What else we want? But if we are considering ourselves as the master of our actions, actually Arjuna was considering himself the master of his actions, as if he were directing the good and bad results of such work. He forgot that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present there, instructing him to fight. So that's why he's saying, I mean, I have told you everything. If you're conscious of me, of course there will be obstacles, but by my mercy you can cross over the obstacles. But if you choose to take a route, choose to do something that I have not told, or something that you have taken out of your own false ego, then you will be lost. Vinangshyasi. Vinangshyasi means you will be lost. It's not for Arjuna, of course, it's for all of us. Finally, he's coming to 18th chapter, and he has been patiently explaining all this. And if left, Arjuna will ask questions for next another 18 chapters. Bhagavad Gita would have gone 36 chapters, but it's time for fighting, and Krishna needs some action. So he's saying, if you listen to me, you'll be saved. If not, you'll be lost. And why you have to listen to me? Because of this. Ishvaraha sarva bhutanam hriddeshe Arjuna tishtati. The Supreme Lord who is situated in everyone's heart, hriddeshe, Brahmayan sarva bhutani, is directing the wandering of all living entities, yantra rudani mayaya, who are seated as on a machine made of a material energy. If we are going in the flight, we may fly so many miles per hour. If we are going in the ship, it may go so many miles per hour. We cannot sit in the ship and expect to go at the speed of the flight. We cannot sit in a car and expect to go at the speed of the flight. So whichever energy, whichever machine we are in, we have taken in, we will go accordingly that. But who made us sit in what machine? That is directed by the super soul, because we did not choose our parents, we did not choose our how we look, how much education we'll get, how intelligent we are, what job we'll get. I mean, to some extent we can see, but we did not choose all this, how we look and what health we have, and I mean, all these things are directed by the super soul. So he is, why? Because he is the witness of our past activities. This life is like one page of this book. This life is like one page, but there are previous pages, and the story continues. And after that, also there are next pages, and the story continues. But who is the witness for our story, life after life after life? That is the super soul, and he is sitting in the heart. So Krishna is saying, I am sitting in your heart, Arjuna. You may not want to fight, but I have brought you here on a chariot, and this is my plan. So so the analogy is just like a driver or a passenger is sitting entra rudani mayaya, a machine made of maya, and we are seated on the machine. This is, the body is like a machine, and that's made of maya, and we are seated in the machine, and we are propelled or pushed by our karma. And who gave us that? By the super soul. He is the witness of our past activities. So Krishna says, surrender unto him utterly. Only by his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. After telling this, he says, Itite jnanam akyatam guhyat guhyataram. The most confidential, I am telling you. Vimrishetad aseshena. Deliberate on this fully. Then ete chasi tata kuru. Whatever you want, you do. We also, I mean, we can see the relationship of the Lord with the devotee. I mean, you keep telling your kid something, do this, do this, do this. Finally, you become desperate and say, okay, I have told my part, you do whatever you want. Ete chasi tata kuru. So that means, as you like, you may act, indicate that God does not interfere with the little independence of the living entity, which is awarded to the living entity because of living entity being the superior energy of the Lord. Living entity is not a jada or the inferior energy. We are a part of the superior energy of the Lord. With the package comes the little independence. So Krishna is a gentleman. He didn't force, and he lets Arjuna to decide. And this is more confidential. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, we heard that. More confidential than that is the most confidential is this. What is this? Fourth thing, Krishna is summarizing. Arjuna, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do these 4. It's like in the exam, if you want to get good marks, okay, these 4 questions you learn. Finally, these 4 questions you learn, it will surely come. You will pass with flying colors. So that's what he's telling. Condensing this again, this shloka is already there in the 9th chapter, the most confidential knowledge. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. Manmana, always think of me. The very form with 2 hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with a beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. So that's the form that we always should think by the mind. Manmana. Bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee. So not a yogi, not a jnani, endeavoring on our own, but serving Krishna by all one's senses. All the senses. That's where comes the morning program, singing for Krishna, cleaning Krishna's temple, offering flowers, and doing book distribution, and preaching about the Lord, engaging all our mind, intelligence, and senses, physical, mental and intellectual capabilities in the service of the Lord. Not that outside devotee with tilak and kanti and inside mind is thinking something else. No, devotee inside out. Recently, I saw a video of God sister, who was very young. She That's become a viral there. She was just, I think, in her mid-30s or so. She has two small kids, maybe less than 5 or 10 years old, and they did a liver transplant to her, but that was not successful. And they had taken a video last few, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 days or last hour or so. So there, she doesn't remember her birthplace. They're asking, what's the name of your son, older son, younger son? She's not able to remember. Then when the person asks, say the pranam mantra, boom, she goes. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jai Pataka Swaminiti Namine. And then she says the pranam mantra of her Guru Maharaj, pranam mantra of Prabhupada, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, and raising her hand saying Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. This is inside out devotee. She couldn't remember her name or even where she is born, the name of her children, but she could remember the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Pranam Mantra, Prabhupada Pranam Mantra, and the Guru's Pranam Mantra. So, I mean, that was such an inspiration that I wish that I be a devotee inside out. So that is Bhava Madbhakto, engaging all our faculties in the Lord service. Madhyaji, worshipping the Lord personally, that is the Aratis. That's what we see in our temples, that there are 7 Aratis starting from morning to evening. Krishna specifically mentions here, worship me, offer me flower, garlands, incense, lamp, etc. Mam Namaskuru means falling on the ground, offering respects to attain Krishna. That indicates Atmanivedanam, complete surrender to the Lord. So these 4 things he says you do, and if we do that, Sarva Dharman. So this is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So one shloka, if you want to know of the Bhagavad Gita, this one. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So religion here means all different types of shelters that we take, that we put our faith in. So the process of surrender to Krishna, how do you surrender? What is the process of the surrender? Here he says, abandon everything and just surrender unto me. So one may question, I still have lots of sinful reactions and I'm still performing sinful activities. Krishna says, forget about it. Whatever you have done in the past, I shall deliver you from sinful reactions. And still, if you doubt, if you think really I can, do not doubt that. Do not fear. Don't hesitate. I mean, how can we say after Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is impersonal? Every shloka is personal. He's showing that how he is a supreme personality of Godhead and how he's so merciful and a complete friend. So the 6 principles of surrender. What is surrender? And how do we surrender? Srila Prabhupada is explaining, these are the 6 principles. Anukulyasya sankalpa means accepting things favorable to devotional service. Whatever things that are favorable to devotional service, accept it. Do it. Chanting, reading, devotion. Pratikulyasya varjanam, rejecting unfavorable things. Because we are all not all perfect to use everything in Krishna's service. So we have some things that are unfavorable that pull us down. So rejecting those things. I mean, we should have a plan. We should fill our calendar with Krishna's service. Today I'm going to do this. Tomorrow, the next month, so that there is no chance of Maya. Otherwise, someone may call up and say, you're free. Hey, there's a movie newly released. Can we go, please? and I'm looking for a friend to go, then immediately the mind will twinkle, oh, why not? After a long time, of course, after all, it is one time movie. Oh, but if we have our calendar filled with the Lord, then there is a reason. Okay, we can reject the unfavorable things, and that has to be done. That's a part of surrender. Raksha ishyati iti vishwaso. Vishwaso means faith. Raksha means protection. Raksha ityati iti. Conviction that Krishna will give protection. 100%. Protection not only means, this body. I mean, there are people whom we have prayed for, they have left this body, but that doesn't mean that Krishna has stopped giving him protection. I mean, there are various reasons. Of course, that's also that giving one's protection. We pray for the continuous association of devotees, but if something happens, Krishna is still giving protection to that soul. Goptritve Varanam Tata, accepting the Lord as one's guardian or master. We don't have to worry what will happen. If this happens, what will happen in the future? Where will I be? I have to make a house of my own. I have to put loan here. And if I get sick, who will pay the so many things, anything could happen anytime. But Goptritve Varanam Tata. Krishna is the only guardian. Guardian, he's a guardian. He is our real guardian. He will not let us go like that. I mean, he says that Kaunteya Pratijanihi Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Atma Nikshepa Karpanye means thinking oneself helpless and being humble. That I have no means of progress other than Krishna's causeless mercy. And begging for that, not by my means of practicing devotional service, not by my means of sadhana, by my surrendering, nothing, only by the causeless mercy of the Lord. I mean, Srila Prabhupada was always praying to the Lord. Yeah, so Shadvida Sharanagatihi. So these 6, actually it's not types of surrender, it can be called the limbs of surrender. These 6 are called the limbs of surrender. So Ma Suchaha, so he says, don't fear, don't worry, and don't hesitate. We may be perplexed. Oh, I've been doing this puja, that puja. Traditionally, I have to do this. No. Once we have taken up the process of Krishna consciousness, Krishna takes care completely. And we have heard this and we have enjoyed, the interactions between the Supreme Lord and his lovable devotee Arjuna. But I mean, it's not good if we keep it for ourselves. And Krishna, at this point of time, what he wants us to do, he wants us to explain this to others. And if we explain the supreme secret to the devotees, what is guaranteed? Pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. So anyone who presents Bhagavad sincerely, I mean, who even not even presents, tries sincerely to present Bhagavad Gita as it is, will advance in devotional activities and reach the pure devotional state of life. As a result of such pure devotion, he is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. So this we know that, and also Krishna said, there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So that much his heart goes out for sharing this message with others. So, and he says that, and I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. This is what is feeding the intelligence first. We are clearing the intelligence first. Then the intelligence tells the mind, based on what data is there. When the mind comes up with an idea, then intelligence says, oh mind, come on. We have learned this in Bhagavad Gita. Why are you bothering me like this? Shut up. Keep quiet. So that strength of the intelligence comes from the study of Bhagavad Gita. And when we study Bhagavad Gita like this, Krishna is saying, basically, we may not be doing arati with that's one kind of worship, chamar, incense, flower. And this is kind of worshipping by our intelligence, and chanting is worshipping by our mind. So this is most dear to the Lord, and it is true that they say that if you learn something, you learn only 20%. If you teach that, you learn maybe I think 70%, but when you practice it, you know 100%. So I mean, teaching is one thing, because when we start to teach, then people ask questions, then we are deepening our understanding. We ourselves, have so many questions that are answered, and then we do it to please the Lord, because He's saying, see, there is no one who will be more dear to me than he who does this. That's what explaining the secret to others. Of course, we shouldn't explain to envious people, or people who are not austere, who are not willing to learn, and who will do offenses. Or because why? Because the idea is, by our preaching, we should bring the souls back to the Lord. If we let people do offenses by this, then they're going away from the Lord. So for that reason, the Lord says that, don't talk it to those people who are envious. It's like this, like Vaisheshika Prabhu gives an example. You don't need to go for a ripe fruit. A ripe fruit, if you just touch, it will come off in your hand. But a raw fruit, if you try to pluck the raw fruit, you need to keep fighting. It will not come from that thing. The whole tree will shake, and so many things will happen. So Krishna is telling, give this to ripe people. Then one may ask, how do I know whether a person is ripe or not? We are still giving to, now so many people may see this. So that's okay. I mean, the point is, we are telling this, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One has to be non-envious. So there are so many innocent people who are ready to accept this. So we target them. So if some people who don't ready to accept this, they will go away from here. I mean, they will not be there to tell more in-depth knowledge. So then it's not an offense that way. Srila Prabhupada also tells in the purport that we are holding public meetings that where anybody can come. But the idea is, we are asking everyone to accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then finally, Arjuna has asked so many questions to Krishna, and Krishna has patiently answered, and Krishna is asking one question to Arjuna. Have you heard this with an attentive mind? Are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? Then Arjuna has to answer. Arjuna says, Nashta moha smritir labda tvat prasadan mayachuta stitosmi kata sandeha karishe vachanam tava. I am, oh infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and am prepared to act according to your instructions. Saying this, he took the bow and arrow. At the end of the first chapter, if you see, Na yotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim babuvaha. Na yotsya iti govindam. I cannot fight Govinda, he told, and he put down his bow and arrow. But here he is saying Karishe Vachanam Tava, and he took back his arrows and bow to fight under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because why? After hearing Bhagavad Gita, he became free from illusion. What illusion? That he is not the doer, Krishna is the doer. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is time personified. Krishna is the cosmic manifestation. Krishna is the Supreme Controller, yet Krishna is my friend. He is my friend. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I better follow what he says, because he made this plan, and I'm just an instrument. So then after this, Sanjaya is saying to Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra asks this, started with Dhritarashtra questioning Sanjaya that what happened. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yuyutsava. In Dharma Kshetre, in Kurukshetra, my sons and the sons of Pandu, they got together to fight. What happened? So Sanjay is saying that I have now heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and I'm feeling Romanchana, my hair standing on end. And how did I hear this? Because of the mercy of Vyasadeva, who's my spiritual master. because Vyasadeva gave him the divine vision to see. So he was, Vyasa was the spiritual master of Sanjaya, and Sanjaya admits that it was by Vyasa's mercy that you could understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you see, this itself is an example. He did not hear directly from Krishna like Arjuna, but by the mercy of the spiritual master, he understood like Arjuna. The same thing with us also. By the mercy of our spiritual master, we would be able to understand exactly like how Arjuna understood it from Krishna. And he's saying that this dialogue is so wondrous, and I'm thrilled at every moment, and I'm able to remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna. I'm struck with wonder. It's all ecstatic symptoms. I rejoice again and again and again. It's not a literary flaw. It shows that how ecstatic Sanjaya is. That's why he's telling again and again and again this is happening. And finally he's answering this here to the question what Arjuna asked. Dhritarashtra asked. What will happen to my sons and the sons of Pandu? He says, wherever there is Krishna, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Who is Krishna? Krishna is not an ordinary person. He's a master of all mystics. And Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha. Who is Partha? The Partha Arjuna, who is very supreme archer, Dhanurdaraha. Tatra, there, Shri, opulence, Vijaya, victory, Bhutir, extraordinary power, Niti, morality. Definitely there will be. Dhruva, definitely. This is Matir Mama, my opinion. So Sanjaya is telling to Dhritarashtra, you're thinking of victory, but my opinion is that where Krishna and Arjuna are present, there will be all good fortune. There will be victory. There will be extraordinary power and morality. So, what is the essence of the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is that one has to surrender unto Krishna in full devotional service in Krishna consciousness. And how do we understand that the Krishna is person as well as he's Kala Rupa, he's time, he is a form of cosmic manifestation? How do we understand that? Because he is inconceivably one and different at the same time. How he is one and different, that is inconceivable. As much as an ant cannot understand how Biden, Mr. President, is running the government. An ant in the White House, an ant in the lawn of the White House, can he understand that? No, like that way we are having ant-like brains and we are trying to understand the functions of the president of the spiritual and the material universe. So that is inconceivable for us, but he is one and different at the same time. And in the 18th chapter at the end also, the whole summary of very nicely Srila Prabhupada summarized all the different points, how Bhagavad Gita is talking about the 5 subject matters, how it's talking about how we are being part and parcel of Krishna, and the different yogas are being taught about, and in that Bhakti Yoga is the what personally Krishna prefers, and all that time culminating in surrender to the Lord. So just a quick summary from verses 41 to 48 is purification through prescribed duties of Varnashrama. 49 to 55 is Brahman platform, the attainment of the impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord. 56 to 66 is pure bhakti, how to act in Krishna consciousness, and the conclusion is surrender. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam charanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha isyami ma suchaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So thank you very much for this opportunity. If anyone has any questions or comments, we can discuss now.
Hare Krishna Akka, it's very nice to hear from you after a long time.
Oh, Ramya.
Yes, Akka.
So
For the
nice.
past half an hour, I'm listening to you. I'm cooking and I'm listening. It's I'm much blessed to get the Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter from you after a long time.
Wonderful to have you in this session. Ramya is my cousin, and I know she has been reading Bhagavad Gita since she is, I think, at least 10, 15 years old. Thank you, Ramya, for joining. And
Thank you, Akka. Thank you so much. I have to leave the meeting now. I have work, so that's why I immediately unmuted. Thank you
Hare
so much, Akka. Thank you very much. It's very, very nice to hear all the things, whatever you have taught before 10 years, 20, 12 years back. It's very, very nice. Thank you, Akka. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ramya, for attending. Hare Krishna.
And one more thing, and the example you have told about how even though we are doing our activities, we have to how to keep on thinking about Krishna, about Prabhupada's and your friend who was on the bed. It's all very nice to hear from you, Akka. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so nice to hear you. Hari Bol. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Such a beautiful class as always. I'm just feeling a little sad that it's ending today, and but really wonderful always listening from you, Mataji. I learn a lot of new things every time I hear your class. So I'm so grateful to you for that, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, that's your part of your humility, Mata. In fact, I discussed with you ideas about what to, talk as examples, and you come up with such wonderful examples and concepts. And yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, even I'm feeling that we will be, offline, off the discussing thing, but we can hear again, 3 other devotees presenting, and we can continue to be in touch. Thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Lalitangi Mataji. Thank you so much for a beautiful session. Thank you. It was very nice, the examples that you gave. And I really like the point that you say, Mataji, that you are telling that when we read, we learn little bit, and when we teach, we learn more. So true, Mataji, because we have to say to others, we will be very careful that we don't do mistake, and we research, and when we practice, we will get it in 100%. And then at the end, you were telling that Bhagavad Gita is like a chant. You just you are like practicing it, and also the Srimad Bhagavatam and connecting to Bhagavad Gita. It was very nice, Mataji, the example of Narada Muni and all. The very, very beautiful session, and it is like a very sweet ending session for this first batch, Mataji. Thank you so much. So sweet, Mataji. Your slides are very clear, and I always wanted to say special thank to Prabhuji, because slides are so nice, so nice. My special thank you to Prabhuji, because it makes a clear understanding what you are talking. It's very easy to understand. Even because what happens is sometimes the speaker is speaking and my mind go out and in. But your slide shows me, okay, where is Mataji now? Okay, this point is Mataji speaking. Okay, now I got it. So that is what happens with your slides, Mataji. Thank you so much for all the Bhagavad Gita teaching. It is so nice, Mataji, learning from you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vinita Mataji. Your Bhagavad Gita in action, always 100% serving the Lord. And how nicely you share realizations each day. You listen to Guru Maharaj's lectures and Prabhupada's lectures, and I always listen to your points that you share. How wonderfully you're doing this, and listening with rapt attention and sharing those points, Mataji. I am grateful to you for that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Guru and Gauranga. Mataji, such a beautiful class, as Sukasari Mataji and Vinita Mataji and everybody mentioned. I'm also feeling little separation of this 18th episode, but it was a grand finale. You covered so much in depth, and so many practical nice examples that you brought to the table. Yes, Mataji, looking at the video of that devotee, makes us definitely that is how a devotee must be, in and out Krishna consciousness, and that was factually proved by her. it's a very great example, and she stood out as a great example for all of us, and a very touching video. Thank you for sharing many practical examples through your slides, and thanks to Prabhuji as well from my side. Very beautifully, I think he captures all your ideas and points. So thank you, Mataji, for the opportunity, and thank you for the seva that he did, covering all the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Radhika Mataji. I mean, so much enthusiastic you are, in spite of having so much work pressure and being in a different time zone. You don't miss one class. You're always on top of everything, reading sessions and hearing. And I mean, amazing, Mataji. You are, as your name indicates, you are fully immersed in service, and that's a great inspiration, Mataji, to work with you. Thank you so much for your association. Hare Krishna. Lakshmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
All glories to Prabhupada and all glories to Bhagavad Gita Mataji. I still remember the first session that you took, chapter 1. Chapter 1 Bhagavad Gita, and the 18th chapter you're completing. It's such a wonderful journey, Mataji. Like how much we learn from your class, that it's like, it's a, like eye opener. It's a different platform, or you're taking one step ahead. You're moving one step in the ladder. Such a wonderful journey, Mataji. And I do have some questions, Mataji, if we have time. Is it okay?
Yes, Mataji, please. We learn from your questions, Mataji. So that's an amazing.
I don't know anything, Mataji. That's why I raised so many questions.
No, to ask questions, one has to be so intelligent. I never asked this much questions, so I'll definitely, cherish your questions, Mataji.
All glories to Prabhupada and you, Mataji. You're the teacher, and all the Matajis are taking class. So, Mataji, the question that came in my mind was in text 47. So, what was it was text 47, where you said that the varna, when we're talking about the 4 varnas, Krishna was telling that we don't have to shift our work. We have to stick to the varna that we have been given, and we have to work there. So my question was, like, why do people need to shift, or why do we have an we have an eager to move to another? We see that and we want to do that job. Like, why does we take that shift? Why do people don't do their work and they wanted to do another ashramas, like another varnas work? I couldn't understand that.
Yeah, so I think, let me share the purport. Prabhupada says that they think that their activity is full of faults, and the other activity doesn't have, the other varna's activity doesn't have that fault. That's what they think. For example, let me open that Mataji in database. Yeah, let me share my screen. So if you see, one's occupational duty is prescribed in Bhagavad Gita. As already discussed in previous verses, the duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra are prescribed according to their particular modes of nature. One should not imitate another's duty. A man who is by nature attracted to the kind of work done by Shudras should not artificially claim to be a Brahmana, although he may have been born in a Brahmana family. In this way, one should work according to his own nature. No work is abominable if performed in the service of the Supreme Lord. The occupational duty of a Brahmana is certainly in the mode of goodness. But if a person is not by nature in the mode of goodness, he should not imitate the occupational duty of a Brahmana. For a Kshatriya or administrator, there are so many abominable things. A Kshatriya has to be violent to kill his enemies, and sometimes a Kshatriya has to tell lies for the sake of diplomacy. Such violence and duplicity accompany political affairs. But a Kshatriya is not supposed to give up its occupational duty and try to perform the duties of a Brahmana. So basically, they think that Brahmana's duty is in the mode of goodness. So let me do that. But that's what he's saying. We may not be in the mode of goodness. See, but if a person is not by nature in the mode of goodness, he should not imitate the occupational duty of a Brahmana. So what happened to the Kshatriyas? I mean, he has to tell lies and he has to be violent and all those things. So that for that question, he's saying that every endeavor has a fault. That's the next thing he says. In the next shloka, if he says that, see, every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of its nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. So he says that even if it's a Brahmana's work, it has fault. So Kshatriya should not think that I have to tell lies, or a Vaishya should not think that I have to tell lies to maintain my family and do the business thing. So let me leave it and go to Brahmana. So that kind of, the shifting, the reason for shifting is to try to work in a mode of goodness.
Oh, okay, Mataji. So Krishna is telling even in Brahmanical work there will be a fault. Like
Exactly. You see,
okay.
If one prefers to give up the work of Kshatriya and take up the occupation of a Brahmana, he is not assured that in the occupation of Brahmana there are no unpleasant duties.
Okay.
One may then conclude that in the material world, no one can be completely free from the contamination of material nature. Then he is giving the example of fire and smoke. So we should not give up our natural occupation.
Wonderful. Okay, Mataji, now it is clear. Okay, Mataji, and in 18.72 to 73, where Arjun's realization, Arjun says, like, now my illusion has been dispelled and I've regained my memory. So what is the memory Arjun is referring to here?
Perfect, Mataji. Yeah, I'll say that. 18.70. 73, yeah. That memory is given in the purport, that one's constitutional position, yeah. Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. A conditioned soul, illusioned by the external energy of the matter, does not know that the Supreme Lord is a master who is full of knowledge and who is the proprietor of everything. Whatever he desires, he can bestow upon his devotees. He is a friend of everyone and is especially inclined to his devotee. He is a controller of this material nature and of all living entities. He is also the controller of inexhaustible time and is full of all opulences and all potencies. Such a supreme personality of Godhead can even give himself to the devotee. So this Krishna, this is what is reinstated as memory in Arjuna's thing. Basically, he understands the glories of the Lord. One who does not know him is under the spell of illusion. He does not become a devotee, but a servitor of Maya. Arjuna, however, after hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became free from all illusion. So when illusion is gone, what he forgot, that he was the Supreme Lord, is a supreme controller and everything, and he's a part and parcel of the Lord, and his thing is to just follow the Lord's plan. That memory was he regained.
Okay, Mataji. Yeah, okay, that's clear now. So finally, Mataji, when Sanjaya says that he was actually giving the answer to the first question, Dhritarashtra Vacha 1.1. Actually, Dhritarashtra didn't remember, like he didn't ask the question again, but still Sanjaya is giving the reply. I think he's remembering it and he's giving the reply after such a long conversation.
Right.
Yeah, because that question was not raised in the end, but still Sanjaya is giving the reply. So Mataji, finally, one question, like after listening to a Bhagavad Gita session, or when I take the course, or after reading Gita, we come to conclusion that we have to surrender to Krishna. That's what the fruit we get. That is ultimate. You surrender to Supreme Personality of God. But we know there are many divisions or many different school of thoughts who don't surrender to Krishna, but they still read Gita. So what are the different fruits, or what are the things you get by reading Bhagavad Gita? The initial one is surrendering to Krishna. So what else you get from that?
Basically, if they are not getting surrendered to Krishna, then see, that's what you see here. This is the answer for your question. From Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that to realize oneself by philosophical speculation and by meditation is one process. Like as you said, there are other processes. But to fully surrender unto Krishna is the highest perfection. This is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So the other thing is that means meditation or philosophical speculation is not giving you the fruit of what Bhagavad Gita is meant for.
Okay, so Mataji,
we are cheating ourselves. If we don't get this fruit of surrender to Krishna, that means we are cheating ourselves, because that's what Krishna himself has clearly said, that manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. If you see that, this is the fruit of thing, and Bhagavad Gita has to get it. If we are getting anything less, that means we are cheating ourselves and we are cheating others also.
So if somebody is using Gita for some other thing apart from surrendering to Krishna, then that's wrong. What they're doing is wrong.
Yeah, because why use Gita? They can do jnana and yoga by themselves, but why they are taking the thing of Gita and doing that? That's why Prabhupada in many purports. I'll show you one purport I read. That he said that I mean it's very disservice to the Lord.
They want to use the name of God, but they don't want to surrender to God.
Yeah, persons who have not undergone the austerities of religious process, who have never attempted devotional service in Krishna consciousness, who have not tended a pure devotee, especially those who are conscious of Krishna only as a historical personality, or who are envious of the greatness of Krishna, should not be told this most confidential part of knowledge. It is, however, sometimes found that even demoniac persons who are envious of Krishna, worshipping Krishna in a different way, take to the profession of explaining Bhagavad Gita in a different way to make business. But anyone who desires actually to understand Krishna must avoid such commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Actually, the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is not understandable to those who are sensuous. If one is not sensuous but strictly following the disciples enjoined in Vedic scripture, if he is not a devotee, he also cannot understand Krishna. And when one opposes himself as a devotee of Krishna but is not engaged in Krishna conscious activities, he also cannot understand Krishna. So, see, he says there are many persons who are envious of Krishna. Such persons should not be told of Bhagavad Gita, for they cannot understand. So what he's telling is, why such persons are commenting on Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is such a clear book which speaks about the personality of God, bhakti yoga, and surrender to him repeatedly. There are so many shlokas where he says, only by bhakti I can be attained. And you surrender to me, I'll take care. So giving anything less as the essence of Bhagavad Gita is not doing justice to Krishna. That's why once somebody asked, this was shared by one Prabhu. I think last week also I shared this. I don't know, a few sessions before that Prabhu was telling that he was seeing Prabhupada and one of the friends walking in Mumbai, and the Indian friend, he said that, why are you against, why you have to be criticizing a person who is saying that God is impersonal, when it is true that God is impersonal also? Why are you bothering them? You can preach your one. So Prabhupada is telling that it's like you asking me, if a doctor is doing a surgical procedure inside the operation theater, and somebody else jumps inside the operation theater with a knife, and he also wants to come and help the doctor, will the doctor allow? He asked this question, will the doctor allow? The operation theater is such a sterilized place. It will be closed. Only the doctor and the nurses, because it's a serious thing. He's opening and he's cutting. It's a surgical procedure. Everything is well designed and sterilized, and what goes when. Suddenly one person comes and takes a knife and says, I will also help you, and he is also cutting. So Prabhupada's argument was this: see, he is trying to address the godlessness that is there in the society already in all our hearts. So when he's doing that, when somebody else comes and says that, no, you can also worship God like this, and then he is also impersonal, and you can become one with God, it's like jumping into the operation theater with a knife and trying to help the doctor by intervening in his operation. So that's
Yes,
why
Mataji. Yeah, so the question rises to me because where Krishna says, that we have to give Gita to others. And Krishna also says we have to be very careful to whom we are giving this. So like, that's why I'm trying to understand, like, how do we give this to people? How do we know that in what mood they're going to accept it, or what is their agenda? We don't know, but still we have to give it to them. We cannot understand them, right? So
yeah, the thing is, when we keep an introduction lecture or glory of Bhagavad Gita, or the glory of chanting of the Hare Krishna, we cannot see you. I think Prabhupada answers this in Gita's advice, not this one, but he says that we are keeping a class. Oh no, not this. I'm not able to find out, Mataji, but he says that we are keeping a general lecture, and we are keeping open lectures, and anyone can come. I'm good with the book. Just a minute. Text 71. See, in other words, Bhagavad Gita is for the devotees only, but it so happens that sometimes a devotee of the Lord will hold open class, and in that class, not all the students are expected to be devotees. Why do such persons hold open class? It is explained here that although not everyone is a devotee, still there are many men who are not envious of Krishna. They have faith in him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If such persons hear from a bona fide devotee about the Lord, the result is that they become at once free from all sinful reactions, and after that attain to the planetary system where all righteous persons are situated. Therefore, simply by hearing Bhagavad Gita, even a person who does not try to be a pure devotee attains the result of righteous activities. Thus, a pure devotee of the Lord gives everyone a chance to become free from all sinful reactions and to become a devotee of the Lord. This is the motive in taking open class. So even if a person is not a devotee, but if he is not envious of the Lord, he will at least get the result of going to a righteous planet. But if he is envious of the Lord, then he will not come back again. So there are so many people who asked so many questions to Prabhupada. If you see after the class, whenever he is holding a public class, he was defeating them, their arguments and everything. That way he was instilling faith in them.
Okay, Mataji, so that's very nice. Actually, we have to give everyone a chance to become free from the sinful reactions.
Right.
Okay, so that's a safe. Yes, Mataji. Okay, Mataji, it was such a wonderful class, and the answers you gave also was very nice regarding everything. So while now for preaching, Mataji, like how and based on what consciousness or what level you have to teach to others, because we are beginners, right? So we have to implement in our life, we have to learn from our life, and then you go and like guide it or something, or you do book distribution, or that is the initial way. How do you start giving Gita to others?
See,
like in our level.
Yeah, you can now call your friends and you have a contacts and you can say that I can teach you Bhagavad Gita, come, because you know this basically, right? Asking so many questions. So you make a group and you start explaining them, teaching them Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you know, if they ask more questions, then you can clarify that. But right now, what you know, with that, every one of us should start explaining this knowledge to whomever we know, whatever circle we know, we can make a group and we can start discussing this. So right now you are ready to preach, Mataji. You don't need to, because only by preaching, then, then we are pleasing the Lord. Only by pleasing the Lord will we be blessed to practice. Otherwise, it will not come on our own. And we cannot please the Lord by any other way as much as we please the Lord by giving this to others. Right? That's what his thing is, right? So if
Yes,
you want to
Mataji.
become dear to the Lord, preach. Whomever you know. I mean, there are so many contacts in your phone. Try to dedicate in a week some like 1 hour 45 minutes for that, and send a message to everyone telling that I'm starting a Bhagavad Gita class, and it is I'm also learning from it, and whatever I learned I want to teach. Are you interested? You definitely, you see, there will be at least few people who are interested, and you can start off with them, and Krishna will be very pleased by this.
Thank you, Mataji. That was very encouraging. Mataji, so like this confidential knowledge which Krishna himself says so many times, it's a guhyam. It's a very confidential knowledge. So this divine knowledge Prabhupada has given us, only because of mercy of Prabhupada and Krishna we are receiving it, and because of devotees of Prabhupada and Krishna like you and all the Matajis, you are giving the knowledge to us. Because this 18 chapter class, I think one of the best time that I've been invested in my life, throughout my life, is these classes. Like it's like I'm very, very grateful. Like I feel I can make a like dandavat pranam to all the Matajis who are giving the class to their feet, because such a wonderful service, Mataji. I'm very grateful to Bhakti Sangha and all the Matajis, and all the people are working on the back, behind the screen with the slides, and particularly Vinita Mataji, she's doing such a service. So I thank everybody from like bowing down and thanking you, Mataji. Jai Sachinandana, Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I am bowing down to you and all the others and thanking, because of this, that, as I said, because I have to talk, I have to know clearly, and I know especially Lakshmi Mataji will ask a question. If wherever I have not studied, Krishna will inspire you from that to ask a question, and this has happened a few times. So definitely I want to study thoroughly, and that is so blissful, Mataji. Because even though I mean, I cannot claim that I've studied many times. It's so shameful to say that, but still, every time you read, it is a new thing, and it's something that you fall in love with. That is the greatness of this, book. That Krishna speaks from the book, and Prabhupada speaks from the purport, and it is such a wonderful. I'm grateful to Sukasagari Mataji. Actually, it is her turn to complete all the 18 chapters, but she was merciful enough to give me half chapter. So whatever chapters I was supposed to do, I had at least did a reading and tried to understand. The other chapters, I didn't do that also. So in that way, it is such a enjoyable thing. And that's why I'm telling Mataji, you take up this. Everyone in this call, please, take up this as a mandate from the Lord to preach, and try to collect few of your friends and start repeating this. It's there online, Facebook is there, and we can share you the slides also, so you can go through it again and again. And if you have more questions which we have not discussed, if you don't know that, we can also ask that. But it is definitely a journey that I recommend everyone to undertake. This teaching journey, it is like much more blissful. Then after one set is over, then you start again teaching another set of people, another set of people. Like that way, it will spread.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for inspiring everyone to be a preacher. I would like to read this translation, Mataji. I don't know which verse it is, but I would like to read this. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come to me back. In the purport, it is said that I will read this whole purport. Sorry for that. Generally, it is advised that Bhagavad Gita be discussed among the devotees only. For those who are not devotees will understand either Krishna nor Bhagavad Gita. Those who do not accept Krishna as he and the Bhagavad Gita as it is should not try to explain Bhagavad Gita whimsically and become offended. Bhagavad Gita should be explained to the person who are already accepted to Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead. It is a subject matter of devotees only and not for the philosophical spectators. Anyone, who tries sincerely to present Bhagavad Gita as it is will advance in devotional service and reach the pure devotional state of life. As a result, such a pure devotion, he is sure to go back to Godhead. So I just want to stress on that point what Lalitangi Mataji is saying. Whoever gives this message to everyone, is Krishna is guaranteeing that they will go back to Krishna. So just want to stress on that point, Mataji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Wonderful, Mataji.
Wow.
Wonderful. That's so. Thank you so much for reading out this purport.
हरे कृष्णा जी ललितांगी गोपी कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की जय Mataji, you explained about that Mataji, what is the concept of that Mataji, and that she not remember her kid's name, but he remembered Jai Pataka Maharaj Gurudev name, and Mataji, second thing, all I agree with Lakshmi Gopi that there is a very small words to thanks all Bhakti Sangha teachers. When we get up early in the morning, 4:30, and we hear Shama Guri and his Prabhuji's Mangla Arti Mataji, we feel that we are sitting in a temple. And Vrinda's mother, Vita Gandharva Mataji, Stephanie Mataji, Radhika Mataji is chanting. Mataji, there is all Bhakti Sangha teachers are working hard. No words to that sincere seva, Mataji. Lalitangi Mataji, I miss first 7 CC Bhagavad Gita class, but I will attend again, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Whenever somebody said that I read CC Bhagavatam, I read CC Bhagavatam, but Mataji, that is, we are not digesting that. So that every time we learn it, every time we learn the nectar, Ananta Koti Danvat Pranam to your seva. And you touch to heart, Mataji, only 1 second, that Srila Prabhupada is hardly sleep 2 hours. Are we read that all Sri Prabhupada books, especially me, no, Mataji, hardly 15 to 20 minutes. So in this Chaturmas, Mataji, I will try my best to read more and hearing more also, Mataji. Hari Hari Gauranga Dandavat Pranam.
Oh Krishna, Rinda Gopika Mataji, you're such a example and inspiration for all of us in cooking, in serving others, in even when you had arm problem, you're cooking for Food for Life, for sandwiches, and a tray full of prasadam for the homeless shelters. So nice, Mataji, and your songs and your japa, everything is very inspiring of you, Mataji, and how you glorify the devotees. It's so amazing. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so we can conclude the session.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much to all the Matajis. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for attending all your participation. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Lalitangi Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very nice summary, 18th chapter. And thank you for all the Matajis who's behind in the 18 chapters course. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Vasmi Mataji, for your inspiration and association. Yeah, thank you all very much, all the devotees. And so we'll get ready for another exciting session, then starting next week. So please tell it to your friends and family members, and please, put it in all the groups so that, we can get so many new people to begin reading Bhagavad Gita. So thank you all very much for joining. So we'll offer obeisances to all the assembled devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sandobhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Srila
Vaishnavrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Lalitangi Mataji ki jai,
Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much. Mataji, you can end for everyone, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Yeah, Hari Bol.